All parties in the matter of Nealon versus Miller. Step forward, please.
Elizabeth Nealon is suing her boyfriend's wife, student Desiree Miller, for the value of a truck and for the return of a down comforter.
Miss Nealon, you have a boyfriend.
Yes, I do.
And what's his name? And also happens to be the defendant's husband.
That's correct.
I assume you are separated from your husband. Is that right?
Yes, we are.
How long have you been separated from your husband?
Off and on, about 3 years.
And how long were you actually living together?
Well, we've been married for 10.
So you lived together for 7?
Correct.
And you've been separated for 3. According to your complaint, Miss Nealon, you and your boyfriend had a truck. The defendant took the truck and sold it, or junked it. She needed some money. You want to be reimbursed for the truck, as well as for a comforter that was in the truck. I assume that that's the comforter in question.
Mm-hmm.
Defendant says she had a right to take the truck. It was purchased 6 years ago when they were still living together. It was her husband's truck. She needed money. She had a right to take it and sell it, even though it wasn't in her name. That's your defense?
Pretty much, yes.
Let me see the title to the truck.
Your Honor, I also have papers here that show that they were legally separated when the truck was purchased originally.
Doesn't make any difference. Where did you take the truck from?
From my father-in-law's house.
How did you get it?
I went over there and drove it because he had messed with my car. My car was inoperable. So therefore, when he got incarcerated, I went and picked up the truck. I had legal right to do so. It was community property.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Well, I got court ordered to do so.
Oh, well, let me see the court order.
I don't have it on me.
Well, then you don't have it. Then you don't have it. If you don't
Okay.
have it with you, then you don't have it. Now, this car is registered in her name alone.
Prior to the registration being due, my husband had warrants out for his arrest.
I don't care. The car is registered in her name alone.
But when I took the truck, it was not registered to her and her alone.
How do I know that?
Well, she mumble-jumbled some paperwork around so she could take it out of his name so that she's sole registered owner, so then she could turn around and try to press GTA charges.
Wait just a second. Let me see the former title to the car, madam.
And I would like to add to Your Honor that she didn't drive the truck. She has her own vehicle.
Doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't make a difference. That's
No,
correct.
not at all.
But it was community property between my husband and I. He stole my vehicle, and I was told there was nothing I could do about it. It was community property. I couldn't make no report, do nothing about it. We're legally married.
Listen to me. You don't know, and the law doesn't know, whether or not he sold the vehicle. Let us say, instead of transferring the title to her, he sold the car, which
Okay.
was only in his name,
Okay.
to a third person. He sold it to Bird. Put the papers away, please, madam.
Sorry.
Under your theory, you had a right to go to Bird's house, take the truck, and junk it.
No.
Shh. Under your theory, you said it's community property. He has no right to transfer the title to somebody else.
I had already had possession of the vehicle when his name was removed and her name was the sole registered owner. I had already had possession of the vehicle.
On what date?
I don't recall the date.
Give me the month.
I don't know, last month, a month and a half ago.
Give me the month.
The month, well, what's this, October, so I'd say August?
Is that when you took the truck from your father-in-law's house?
Yes.
What did you do with the truck when you took it from your father?
I drove the truck, and within
For how long?
Maybe a month, about a month, somebody had filled the gas tank. I mean, completely filled the gas tank with sugar. On top of that, we paid $1,600 for the truck 6 years ago. Not a dime has been invested into that truck since then, but what my passed away mother put into it, which was clutch and brakes.
You drove the truck for a month.
Correct.
And then it was rendered inoperable. Is that what you're telling me? What did you do with it after it was rendered inoperable?
Well, I gave it to the tow truck company for a ride home. The truck was completely worthless. When the engine was, and the body was shot out, and the truck was worthless.
Now, what do you know about this truck? Did it end up in a junkyard?
That's what I understand, but it's all hearsay. I really don't know what happened to it.
Did you ever check with the junkyard?
I called several junkyards and never was able to locate the truck.
Now, how much money did you pay for this truck?
$2,500.
Show me. This says that you are loaning him $2,500, dated August 20th. In lieu of the loan in return, he will put in my name the title of his truck until the loan is paid in full. If he fails to pay off the loan, he agrees the truck will be turned over to me for payment in full. He will begin making payments of $250 a month to commence upon his employment, and you both agree he should be employed no later than the middle of August and should have made at least one full payment by the end of August. Show me where you took out the $2,500 from.
I didn't bring my bank statements with
That's
me.
too bad. That is too bad.
I brought everything else. I thought that that was going to be sufficient.
It's not.
And, Your Honor,
I have to believe you that you gave him $2,500. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. Now, what was he incarcerated for?
She made false allegations of him stalking her.
False. They're
Is
on.
he? Shh. Is he still incarcerated?
Yes, ma'am, he is.
Was he convicted or is he waiting trial?
He's awaiting trial.
When was the last time you saw him?
Last weekend.
Do you go every weekend to see him?
Yes, I do.
What kind of work do you do?
Right now I'm unemployed. She had me fired from my
What
job.
kind of work do you do? You're
Sales.
unemployed. And when was the last time you were employed on a full-time basis?
Was August 17th.
What kind of work were you doing?
Selling satellite television.
Where do you live now?
I live in Anaheim with my mother, who I take care of. She has Alzheimer's disease.
How long did you have that job that you lost in August?
Approximately 2.5 years.
Okay, Ms. Nealon, let me tell you this. I'm dismissing your claim with leave for you to come back and refile within 1 week.
Okay.
If you can establish to my satisfaction that you actually gave him $2,500 from a withdrawal from the bank, therefore that you actually paid in due course something for this truck, I will entertain your action again.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Not a problem.
Other than that, you get nothing. Because other than that, what happened was, the truck was turned over to you to keep it out of her hands. She took it. She says it was community property. I don't know if I believe it was community property. She also has the right to bring me this order that she says it was in
That's fine.
existence, which she also conveniently doesn't have, that allowed her to take the truck. But more importantly, from your perspective, I want to see that you gave, what's his name? $2,500 for anything. Do you understand?
Sure.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step
Oh,
out.
by the way, she can take back her down comforter.
Liz.
She's just disgusting.
I have a restraining order against her.
She's a porno queen.
She's been malicious in many more ways than one.
I found pornos of her and my husband in the back of the truck.
Be careful of who you deal with.
He had warrants out for his arrest. He's a lowlife as well.
There's vindictive women out there.
They deserve each other, and I hope they will be happy.
Brenda and J.D. Autry are suing their former employee, Jeffrey Bird, for stolen belongings, damaged property, unauthorized phone charges, and lost wages. Jeffrey is countersuing for money owed and the return of his tools.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 463 on the calendar, the matter of Autry versus Bird. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Autry, the defendant was a former employee of yours, according to what I've read. This was some time ago. Same time, he was also a tenant of your mother or your mother-in-law. Whose mother?
My mother.
Your mother,
Yes.
your mother-in-law. It is your claim that a year or more ago, he stole some property from you, damaged some property, ran up a phone bill while he was living with your mother and your mother-in-law, and caused you to lose wages. Mr. Bird says that he stole nothing, he destroyed nothing, and he's counterclaiming for some money that he says you owe him for work he did on your house while you were on vacation, and for some tools that he left in your truck. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's hear what you think he owes you.
Jeff had been renting a room from Violet, my mother-in-law. She woke up and Jeffrey was gone. She found a note on her kitchen table from Jeff, and she went and noticed that her pistol was gone. She called us then, and we checked for things missing in our house, and we found that the Makita cutoff saw was missing out of our truck. At that time, that was all we noticed that was missing, and because of the note, we called the sheriff's department and made a police report at that time. Over the next several weeks, we found more things missing that were not as noticeable, and we received phone bills.
All right. What proof do you have that Mr. Bird stole those things?
Well, ma'am, I have a note from him saying that he was sorry.
Well, let me see the note.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry he stole property?
It's not specific.
No, I was sorry that I was leaving. And ma'am, as far as the items coming up,
Just a second. What does this mean? JD, I'm sorry for everything. It will all be over soon. What does that mean, sir?
well, that was something of a personal matter. It had nothing to do with any kind of tools or nothing. At the time, I was going through doing drugs and depression and all that, and I had every intention of not being around. But
So you had intentions of taking your own life?
Yes, at the time.
Did you take any of their property, sir?
No, ma'am, and the property they're talking about that come up missing supposedly after I left, it was missing while I was still working with them. All three of them, I asked every one of them if they thought I took it, and all three of them said no.
What kind of drugs were you involved with, sir?
Ma'am, I've done a little bit of everything.
How were you paying for the drugs?
I was working.
Were you able to make enough money to pay for the drugs? Or did you have to sell some stuff?
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
I make good money. I still make good money.
All right, is this the only proof that you have? I'm sorry for everything. It'll all be over soon?
No, ma'am. I also have, when Jeff was arrested after a standoff with the police department, he was arrested with the gun that belonged to Violet Autry at his head.
Okay, so he had that gun. Talking about the other property that you say he took from your house that you found over the course of weeks, what proof do you have that he took anything else from your house?
He was the only one with access to the house.
Your Honor, I was told several times before that James's nephews have taken stuff, run up phone bills.
Just a second. You don't have enough proof, Mr. and Mrs. Autry, that he stole property from your house. Let's get to the phone bill.
Okay. The phone bill, at the time the phone call was made, the only people in the house that night were Jeffrey and my mother-in-law, Violet.
Was this your house or her house?
This is her house, but the phone
Would
bill
you
is in
step
her
up,
name.
please? Can I see the phone bill? We're talking about. What was the place that was called?
I had to call it to actually find out it's phone sex calls.
Ma'am, phone sex calls have...
Not, wasn't her.
No, I understand that. But their nephews come in, or her grandsons come in all the time, and they all three told me that has happened before. Just because I was there doesn't mean that I did it, because I didn't, ma'am.
Well, that's what I want to know.
No.
Did you or did you
No,
not?
I did not.
Ma'am, these phone calls were made between, I look at the times, it's 1:56 a.m. until 3:36 a.m., I believe.
What was the date that you moved out of the house, sir?
Oh, ma'am, I couldn't even tell you.
It was in
today's
February
date.
of 2002, is that right?
Yes, it was sometime in February. The last day I was there was a Tuesday, and as far as when they come back, I wasn't there. I was gone when they come back.
But you were there on the 10th.
I don't know. What day is that?
I don't know what day it is, sir. What day is it today?
I have no idea. I don't keep up with the dates, ma'am.
Good. Well, February 10th. You have nephews that come to the house?
They come to visit me sometimes.
But do they come to your house in the middle of the
It's
night?
my grandsons, but
Or your
they
grandson?
don't come during the night.
Yeah, no. No. Mr. Byrd, maybe you weren't feeling particularly happy that day, but these phone calls are yours. $478.02 because she did not call the sex line.
Ma'am,
In
there
one
was
day,
also a lot
in
of
one
nights
day
I wasn't there.
at 1:56 a.m., 2:21 a.m., 2:25, 2:39 a.m., 2:47, 2:50 a.m.
If you'll ask them, they'll also tell you there's a lot of nights I wasn't even there. A lot of nights.
Listen to me, Mr. Byrd. You were doing drugs. I don't know what else you were doing other than drugs, but I know that Violet did not call the sex hotline.
Well, ma'am, I've done a lot of drugs.
Then listen to me, Mr. Byrd. I know this is not a tea dance. This is not a give and take proposition. I have to make a judgment and make it expeditiously. I don't believe that they have enough evidence to establish that you stole property because that's a much higher standard. Did you steal property? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, and I certainly can't attribute that to you. I can attribute these to you because I look at Violet, and I look at you, and I say to myself, which one of these two people do I think spent the entire night of February 10th on the phone with some telephone hooker? And my best sense is that it wasn't her. Now, Mr. Byrd,
Yes.
you have a counterclaim, which I'm going to hear, sir. You say that you did some work for these people.
Yes, ma'am.
When they were gone. Tell me about it.
Well, I worked at their house painting a couple of days while they was gone. Like, I had about 30 hours in, plus my tools that are on the truck and my clothes that was left there.
Why didn't you take them?
I just left. I was walking. I didn't have no way of carrying them.
Why couldn't you go get your tools?
Because they was trying to have me arrested at the time.
No. You're making excuses, Mr. Byrd.
Ma'am,
Whatever you left there is abandoned. Let's get to your work that you say you did. Did you owe him any money? Did you owe him any money?
He painted the deck, but we don't know how many hours that took.
Did he finish the
And-
deck?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am, he did.
How many hours did you work on the deck?
I worked 3 days on the deck.
Fine. 3 days on the deck. How much do you get an hour, sir?
$12 an hour.
Is that what you agreed to pay him?
Yes,
Well,
ma'am.
yes.
Okay. This is what we have. They owe you $288 for the work that you did on the deck. As far as your tools and other property that you claim that you left there, that's abandoned property. You left, you wrote a goodbye note. Any property that you left there was abandoned. You owe them $478 for the phone bill, because I find that you actually made those phone calls to the sex hotline. That means that on their complaint, they get $190. That's all. Period. Goodbye. Have a happy life.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I'm not sure what kind of friendship is left when you come home from vacation and you've got all this stuff missing.
Well, I think they can get all my money for what I actually worked.
Damages, there's, you know, that kind of shoots the friendship. I don't think I had much to do with that.
As far as the phone calls, that's just what the judge decided.
We didn't think he was doing any drugs or anything at the time. He had seemed to straighten his life out, but that turned out not to be the case. He had relapsed.
I'm glad it's over.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Doherty versus Balin, step forward, please.
Student Sean Doherty is suing his ex-girlfriend, accounting assistant Melissa Balin, for unpaid rent and for the value of a TV and VCR. Melissa is countersuing for harassment.
Mr. Doherty, according to your complaint, you and the defendant dated briefly. You claim a loan to her. And also you say that you loaned her your mother's broken television and VCR. You want both back
I had no idea that the TV or the VCR was broken.
when you gave it to her.
Mm-hmm.
When did you begin to date her, and when did you stop dating her?
Started dating probably about July and ended it in probably about September.
When was the first loan?
I believe it was electric bill. She paid that back. There was other loans
how
that she
much?
paid back.
So she would loan her money and she would give you the money back.
Yeah. The
So
last
what kind
loan
of
was
loan are we talking about, sir?
the last loan was for her rent.
Her rent. How much?
$240.
When did you make that loan?
I believe it was September 9th.
Tell me the circumstances around that, sir.
She needed the money to pay for her rent.
I assume so. Did she call you? Were you together when she asked you for the money? Tell me about how
We
that-
were together. I was over her apartment when she asked for the money.
What did she say to you? What did you say to her?
She asked me if she could borrow the money, and I said yes. And so I went down to the ATM and took out the money and handed it to her, and she handed it to her landlord.
In cash.
Yes, in cash.
And what about the television and the VCR?
My mother's TV was a 13-inch color TV, and she wanted it for her daughter so she could watch movies. And I said, well, I'll see if she'll lend it to you.
Why would she lend it to her?
Until she got another TV.
Where was it in your mother's house?
The VCR belonged to me. The television belonged to my mother.
Where had it been in your mother's house?
Her spare bedroom.
So nobody was using it.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Did your mother know the defendant?
Yes.
Did your mother know the defendant's daughter?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Miss Balin, let's first talk about the television and the VCR. Tell me about your version of the television and the VCR.
I was going to purchase a television, a small television and a VCR for my daughter's bedroom. He says, well, I have a VCR that I'm not using. He says, and his mother had just moved here. He says, she has an extra TV. She doesn't want to let me talk to her. And he called me that night and he said, don't go out and buy one. We've got one you can have.
That sounds more right to me than the story you just told me. Do you understand, Mr. Doherty?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds more close to common sense and the truth that my mom's got an extra
She
one.
didn't
She's
have the
not,
money.
Shh. My mom's got an extra one she's not using. I got a VCR that I'm not using. You can have them for your daughter. That sounds right to me. So let's forget about this television VCR because that's a lot of baloney. Well, let's get to the money. $240 for rent.
No. I did borrow money from him.
He says you borrowed money and you paid it back over the course of the brief time that you were together.
Right.
He said this money in September you didn't pay him back.
I didn't borrow that dollar amount from him.
How much did you borrow from
I
him
borrowed
for rent?
$50 from him.
For what?
I used it for groceries. I was short. I
We're
paid.
talking about rent. He's already said that you borrowed certain money from him that you paid back, smaller amounts, but that on September 9th you needed money for your rent.
I paid my rent. I was short on money. I didn't have any money for groceries that week, and I did ask him if I could borrow $50 so I could purchase groceries because I had just paid my rent.
Okay. And this was on the 9th of September?
Yeah.
You sure about the date?
I don't know exactly what day it was, but it sounds close.
Can I see a withdrawal from your bank for $240, please?
I don't have that. I got it from the ATM.
Well, if you got it from the ATM, you would have a record of that, sir.
I didn't ask for a record for it.
Why not?
Because I was in a hurry to, get back to her place.
No. You get that, sir, when you get a bank statement.
Well, they give you the
Listen to me.
option
You
of
get
whether
it.
you can have it printed out or not printed out. And
Mr. Doherty, are you trying to dance around me, sir?
no.
You get that in your bank statement at the end of the month that says that you withdrew $240 on the 9th of September. It lists every date that there was activity on your account. And it would show September 9th, $240, not the receipt that you got from the ATM. Where is that, sir?
I didn't bring that with me.
Is there any reason why you knew you were coming to court today?
I couldn't find the record for it.
Then you have no case, sir. Do you understand? When you come to court, you're supposed to bring proof. You're supposed to bring evidence. If part of that evidence is a withdrawal from the ATM, you get your bank record. And if you don't have it, you pick up the phone, call the bank, and you say, I misplaced my September statement. Could you send me another?
Well, I have emails that she stated that she was going to pay me back on September 20th.
Fine.
And she
How
said
much
that
did she
would
say
never
she
do
was going to pay you back?
She didn't. It didn't.
She
didn't write
says
it
she
down.
borrowed $50 from you, and she said she paid it back, not $240. And there was a very easy way of proving that, sir, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you have a counterclaim for harassment. You want to tell me about that?
I broke up with Sean just because we weren't really going in the same direction as far as a relationship goes. I realized that his feelings were a lot deeper, and I pretty much just wanted a friendship. After I broke up with him, he would call me during the day, send me emails at work, call me at 11:30 at night, asking me, was I just a summer fling? What am I supposed to tell my daughter? At one point, he called me at about 11:30 at night, and I told him, this is ridiculous. It has to stop. Please just leave me alone. At that point, I stopped answering the phone when he called. I have a caller ID box. I stopped answering the call. He started leaving messages on my voicemail stating the first time he said I owed him $150, call me, let's discuss it. Then he called me and said I owed him, I believe it was $280. The next time it was $320. The amounts were never the same. While we were together, his mother was going through an issue with a boyfriend where her boyfriend had said he had given her money. And when she called there, he said, I know you didn't give me any money. I just wanted to get you to call me. Finally, he came over to my house. He was knocking on my door. I went and opened the door. He wasn't there. I walked away. Another knock on the door. This time I opened the screen door, and he was standing at the bottom of my steps with his back up against the house. And I hurried up to try and shut the door, and he tried to stick his hand in the door. He's like, I want to talk to you. I had to call my neighbor to come across the street. My witness is here today. She's the one I called to come over. I was terrified. I didn't know what he was going to do. That night I called my friend who works for the sheriff's department. I said, look, I know that he got hurt. I just want him to leave me alone. He needs to just move on.
All right, has he left you alone the last month?
He showed up at a bar that he knows I go to every Friday night. He showed up there this past week, Friday night, and just sat there, made things very uncomfortable for me. I was employed there on Friday nights up until about 4 weeks ago.
Other than that, has he been back to your house?
Not since I called the sheriff on him.
Have the phone calls stopped?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
You finished?
The reason for the phone calls is I was trying to get my stuff back, other than the TV and the VCR. I had clothes there. I had other personal belongings there.
Did you get your stuff back?
The reason that I had to go over her house is because she said that she was going to drop it off, and she never did.
Did you get your stuff?
Yes, I finally got it back.
And you're not going to bother her anymore, are you, Mr. Doherty?
No.
It's over.
Yeah.
Right?
I wasn't, I just went to the bar because I wanted to go.
Okay, but you're not going to bother her anymore.
No.
It's over. Right?
I hope so. I just want him to leave me alone.
It's a little bit more melodramatic.
Okay. Listen, at most, Mr. Doherty, it cost you $240, and at best, you learned the lesson, and that is when you come to court, you got to bring evidence. You can't just, say, I lent her $240, I lent her $320, I lent her $150. Yeah, especially when you have the evidence. It's available to you. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. That's all. Bye-bye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He needs to leave me alone and move on and not come after me for something that I don't owe him.
She lied right to the judge saying how much money I owed her.
I had to call a neighbor to come over and remove him from my property. He came back twice that night. I slept with a baseball bat. I was very, very scared.
She's a drama queen. Plain and simple.
And the TV and the VCR he gave me didn't even work. They were thrown to the curb.
the next case.
All parties in the matter of Atkins versus Williams. Step forward, please.
Nurse Latricia Atkins is suing her sister-in-law, store owner Alice Williams, for unpaid wages and reimbursement for merchandise. Alice says Latricia was supposed to be a volunteer.
Miss Atkins, the defendant is your sister-in-law. She had been married to your brother who passed away recently. Is that right?
Yes.
When did your brother pass away?
June 2nd of 2000.
How did he die?
Actually, he had a drowning. We don't actually know what really happened.
It is your claim that you went into a partnership with your sister-in-law in a small business. You had been doing some selling at fair,
like swap meets, different people.
And you'd been selling children's clothing?
No, mostly adult clothes.
In any event, your sister-in-law said she was interested in going into a business, and according to you, she put up the money and you put up the skill.
Yes.
And the know-how. And you worked and you kept waiting for profits. There were no profits, she said, because she took care of the books. And you are suing her now for what you believe is your fair share of the work that was done.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Williams says that there was never a partnership. You helped her out. You volunteered out of the goodness of your heart. That there was never an arrangement to share the profits. This was her business and her business only. She put up the money. You put up nothing. And she owes you nothing. That's your position.
Absolutely. With the exclusion of, she was a phenomenal help for me. Basically, when I asked her...
I didn't ask you anything yet. Did you say basically?
Absolutely,
that's correct?
yes.
Correct. Okay. Tell me about how this business started with your sister-in-law.
Well, I was in school, and I didn't have any income, so I decided to start taking the little money that I did have and start selling clothes. And she approached me at a barbecue at my sister's house in Lancaster and said that, oh, looks like you're doing pretty good. I would like to be basically a silent partner. You can go find the place and everything, and which I did. I found the place. And,
just a second.
Okay.
How long had you been doing your selling before she approached you?
Probably a couple of months. I was doing my own thing.
How much money did you make in the 2 months that you were in business before going into an association with your sister-in-law?
Oh, I was making like maybe close to $200-300 a week.
$200 or $300
yes.
a week?
Yes.
Okay. Then she approaches you and you went and got a different booth?
Yes, she said, you know, I got a little money on the side that I can really, you know, help out, but you can go find the place and I'll basically be a silent partner.
So did you go find a larger place?
Yes, I went and found a larger place.
When?
It was September 13th.
Of what year?
Of 2002.
And how many days a week did you work there?
Just 3 days a week.
How many weeks did you work there?
September 13 to November 20th.
Is that about right?
Yes.
You handled the money, is that right?
Yes, I did.
How much money did you, when you were handling the money, turn over to Miss Atkins during that time?
None, because there was...
Just you turned over none. And it is your testimony, Miss Williams, very succinctly, that Miss Atkins gave up her business that she was in for 2 months prior to your approaching her in order to go into your business 3 days a week for approximately 12 weeks as a volunteer. Is that what you want me to believe? I just asking you, is that what you want me to believe?
Yes.
I don't. I don't.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Miss Williams, makes no sense for someone who has a business making some extra money. I don't know if it was $200 to $300. I'm not so sure about that. Even if it was $50 a day, it is incredible that she would give up her business to go in and work 3 days a week in your business and not expect to be compensated. It's ridiculous. And it's not true. She had her own business. You mean to tell me she gave it up? She wasn't in love with you. She gave up her business to come and volunteer with yours for nothing? It just didn't happen, Miss Williams. You took advantage of her. So you got to pay for that. Do you look like you're losing?
No.
Now, it's going to be absolutely impossible for me to go back and to say to you, well, what merchandise did you have? What did you sell it for? Because that would have been a partnership. You put up the money. She goes in there and devotes her time. But certainly $50 a day is an appropriate amount of money to pay somebody who works 8 hours a day. And that you're going to pay her. So far, she owes you $1,320. Anything else?
No, thank you very
Good.
much.
Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm just glad it's over.
It's sad. I didn't want to do this. She asked me to.
She basically was volunteering. She knew the business was small. She knew that I was starting out.
I still got a lot of love for her.
She basically was able to just take advantage.
I hate that it went this way.
I'm really just glad it's over, and I want nothing else to do with these people.
Medical insurance coordinator Delinda Shubin is suing house cleaner Sandra Greaves for damage to her car caused by her daughter, 14-year-old Chelsea. Chelsea and her mother claim Delinda's daughter, 15-year-old Camellia McIntosh, is also to blame.
Order. All rise. Your Honor, this is case number 517 on the calendar in the matter of Shubin versus Greaves. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
All right, along with Mrs. Shubin and Mrs. Greaves, I'd like their 2 daughters up here, please. Tell me your first name.
Camellia.
And yours?
Chelsea.
According to what I've read, Chelsea was spending the night at your house. Is that right?
That's correct.
And it is your claim that sometime within that 24-hour period, without your knowledge, consent, or permission, Chelsea drove your car, causing some serious mechanical problems, and you want her mother to pay for half of the damage to your car.
That's correct.
Mrs. Greaves says that she would pay for some of the damage initially. Then the bill came in, and it was a substantial amount of money, and she thinks that your daughter is primarily responsible for what happened with the car, so she's balking at the bill.
That's correct.
Okay. So, Camellia, what date was this when you used your mother's car?
It was, oh my gosh, I think it was October 26th or something. Or not October 26th, December.
Well, October to December. We're not even in the same month.
I know it's the same night of our winter formal, I know that.
Winter formal?
Yes.
When was the winter formal? In what month? Think.
December.
There you go. I knew by the process of deduction we would get somewhere. Ms. Shubin, what was the date in December?
The winter formal was January 11th. That was a Saturday.
Had both of you girls gone to the winter formal?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now tell me what happened with your mother's car.
Well, it was that morning.
Well, tell me what happened. Did you go to sleep?
We went to sleep, we woke up, we were getting ready for the winter formal. We went to the car to get my glitter.
Where was the glitter?
In the passenger seat.
What was the glitter going to be used for?
Our hair.
Why did both of you have to go out to get the glitter?
Because I didn't know where I left it. She was looking on the driver's side, I was looking on the passenger side.
And the car was unlocked?
No, I went inside and I asked my mom if I can get the keys to open the door to get the glitter.
Where was your mother when you asked her that question?
She was laying asleep in bed.
And what did she answer you?
She said, well, just go get the glitter inside the car.
And she gave you permission to get the keys?
Yes.
Took the keys and you went outside with Chelsea?
Yes.
And you had the keys in your hand?
Yes.
You opened up the driver's side or the passenger side?
Passenger.
Okay, and?
And then I opened the door for her. I gave her the keys to open the door.
And according to what you told me a moment ago, the glitter was on the passenger seat.
Well, it wasn't on the seat. It was under the seat.
It was under the seat?
Yeah.
What was it doing under? Bert, are you enjoying this as much as I am?
Oh, yes.
I knew you would.
Wonderful tale.
There's nothing like honing your cross-examination skills. You opened up the passenger door.
Yes.
Why are you opening up the driver door?
So she can look on that side.
Yes.
Yes. And her elbow accidentally hit the emergency brake.
Now, where is her body positioned? She's at the driver's side, right?
Yes.
And she's looking under the seat?
Yes. But she was on top of the seat looking under.
No, darling. Listen to me, sweetheart.
Okay.
That doesn't make sense. That may be the story you told your mother. But I want you to see this, okay? Bird, I want you to pull that chair out from me, would you? Just pull it out just a tad. Now, that's the driver's seat in the car.
Yes.
According to you, Chelsea is looking for the glitter under the seat because it's not over the seat. And according to you, she's looking under the driver's seat while sitting in the driver's seat. Is that right?
She was laying on it. She was like...
Show me. Sit down in the driver's seat.
She was like this and then looking under like that.
No. Show me. Show me. She's leaning in the car.
And then she's going like that. She was looking under.
You can't see anything from where your head is, darling.
She was going like that. That's how she was looking.
And then what happened?
And then she accidentally hit the emergency brake. And
Show me how you do that. Show me how you do that.
She just hit it.
No. Show me how you do that. I want to see. She's looking all the way down, right?
Yeah.
Looking all... Get down further. You can't see anything from where you're looking. You can't see anything from where you're looking. You see, what you have to do is if you're looking underneath the seat of the car, you have to look from the outside of the car in order to see all the way underneath. See, now I want you to step out. Step out of the driver's side. Now, stop right there. Turn around. Now, get down and look under the seat. That's right. Now that, a girl. Then you can get down. You can't get down if your feet are on top of the car seat. So that's the story you told your mother. It's a story I don't buy. But let's continue on with your fairy tale. Her hand accidentally hit the emergency brake, and the car did what?
Started rolling back.
And what happened when it rolled back?
She pushed the brake in.
With her hand?
No, with her foot.
How did she... Oh, that's good. Okay, so show me now. Now I want you to lean over and show me how she's looking underneath. Okay, lean over, show me she's underneath. Okay, now just a second. Let's do this slowly, because you're watching her, right?
Yes.
You're watching her carefully.
Yes.
Then down. You're looking. Now, hand accidentally hit the emergency brake, which is
and then
where?
It went like that.
Like there. Now, show me, with what foot did she put?
Down and went like that. And
oh, she immediately turned around and sat down.
Yeah.
Oh, now I understand. Now it all becomes clear. Now, somehow, from the time that her foot miraculously got a hold of the emergency brake, in order to stop the car from rolling backwards, you got into the passenger seat of the car, and she takes the key, which she's holding, and puts the key in the ignition and turns it on.
Yeah.
Now, I want to know what happened first. Did you get into the passenger side first?
Yes.
And after you got into the passenger side, what happened with the key?
What happened with the key?
Yeah, she's holding the key. She is just... Oh, I'll get to you in a minute. Okay. So, get to you in a minute.
Okay.
Now that you see what can happen to you, we're going to get to you in a second.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Now, she's holding the key in her hand.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
She was holding the key in the hand, and she turned on the car.
First, she has to put it in the ignition.
Yeah.
Well, what did she say when she put it in the ignition?
She said that she was going to pull it up.
Pull it up where?
Because she said she knew how to drive a stick. I don't know how to drive a stick, so I couldn't pull it up.
Keep going.
And then she pulled back and then went up the street. And while she was going up the street, she was grinding the gears. And smoke was going out the back.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Shh! You weren't there. All right, Chelsea.
Okay.
Version 2.
Okay. We went into her mom's car, and what happened...
Just a second.
Okay.
Let's talk about this glitter. Is that why you went into the car?
We went in there to look...
Look at my eyes.
We went in there to look for the glitter and to talk. Because her mom was asleep, and we didn't want to awake her mom.
Just a minute. How big is her house? Or does she have a one-room apartment?
No, she has a house.
How many rooms are in the house?
I think 3. There are 3 bedrooms.
Oh, well, so there are 3. There are 3 bedrooms?
Yes.
And I assume that her mother only sleeps in one of those rooms?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Then can you explain to me why you had to go into the car to talk?
Well, we were also looking for the glitter. We were sitting down and we were looking, and my arm, my elbow, hit the emergency brake. We rolled back, we rolled down. She ran in to get the keys in the car, and she's like, "Can you drive a stick?" I said, "Yes." And she
Hold
said,
on a second. So here we have a little different story. Here you did not have the keys to the car
No, the
before you
car
got
was
out
open.
there. The car was open.
Yes.
So then she goes inside and gets the keys and comes back outside.
Yes.
And what do you do next?
She's like, "Can you drive a stick?" And I said, "Yes." And she's like, "Why don't you go into the cul-de-sac and drive back up?"
Why is that?
Because it was at a better angle than just driving it back up the driveway, because we didn't want her mom to know, because we were afraid her mom was going to be upset. So we went to the cul-de-sac, and she's like, "Well, why don't you just go up the street?" We went up the street 2 times and pulled back in.
What did you say to her when she said, "Well, why don't we just go up the street"?
I said, "Okay."
Why?
Because thought it would be fun just to go joyriding.
Car making a lot of noise when you had it out?
No, it didn't grind at all.
Okay. Now, at some point, you got up.
That's correct.
What time did you get up?
It was about 10:30.
When did you go out to your car?
I ended up going outside probably about 11:30.
11:30, you got into your car?
That's about the time that I got into the car and pulled out of the driveway.
Okay. Where were you going?
I had to go pick my nephew up from school.
And where is that?
That's about 2 miles from my house.
So you drove 2 miles there and 2 miles back, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. So when you got home and you sensed that something wasn't right with your car, what did you do?
I immediately confronted Camellia and Chelsea.
And what did they tell you?
They proceeded to deny to me that they knew anything was wrong with the car. And then Chelsea told me that her elbow hit the emergency brake, and
they gave you this baloney story about the elbow hitting emergency brake.
And they miraculously pushed the car back up into the driveway.
Okay, but that wasn't true because they actually drove the car.
I found out later that evening that they did.
Did you have the car fixed?
Yes, I did.
And how much did it cost you to have it fixed?
A total of $1,877.50. And I have the invoices here.
Can I see it, please?
Yes.
You don't think that she should pay that whole amount, I assume?
That is correct. We initially agreed to split the costs when I spoke to Sandra. But
and that was for the clutch. And I was willing to pay for 2/3 of the clutch because of Chelsea's participation in their joyride. But
you're not responsible for 2/3 of the clutch. Listen, I don't even think that you're responsible for half, but I do think that you're responsible for a portion of this bill. I'm going to tell you why you're responsible for more. Because her daughter was an invited guest at your house. And what you're supposed to do, and you're supposed to be vigilant about, is when you have teenagers in your house, you are supposed to make sure that they can't get their hands on your car keys. That's your responsibility. According to your daughter, you gave her permission to have control of your car. That's according to your daughter, right?
Mm-hmm. Can I also raise a point?
Sure.
I was up till about 3 o'clock in the morning when she had stayed the night also because I try to be a good role model parent to keep an eye on teenagers because I don't know what they have in mind.
You're absolutely right. You never can tell.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
my other brother who I was in business with, who my mother talked me into going into business with this brother.
How old are you?
Old enough to know better.
So don't blame anybody else for your mistakes. I want to hear about the $3,000.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Delinda Shubin claims her car was damaged by her daughter's friend, 14-year-old Chelsea Greaves. Chelsea says Delinda's daughter, 15-year-old Camellia, is also to blame.
Okay. All I'm telling you is it was your responsibility to be vigilant and to make sure that these two girls couldn't get their hands on your car keys, because if something had happened to her daughter, you would have been responsible. Now, that doesn't let you off the hook totally, because you knew you were doing the wrong thing, right?
Yes.
And I have to attempt to earmark responsibility, because certainly the one who's going to suffer is your mother. Not her fault, right? You didn't have any money. How old are you?
14.
So you didn't have any money. The one who's going to suffer is your mother. Now, she had no responsibility whatsoever. She assumes that if her daughter is staying over at somebody else's house, the other adult responsible is going to make certain that their kids can't get into trouble or can't get hurt. But unfortunately, you are partially responsible. And I think you're a third responsible. I think you're a third responsible, and I think you're a third responsible, and I think you're a third responsible. Because I don't think that your mother should be half responsible when the plaintiff was in a position to say to her daughter, you can't have my car keys. You want to go looking for glitter? I'll go look for the glitter with you. I'm not giving you the keys to the car. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $600, which is 1/3 of the damage. That's all.
Oh, he's excused. You missed
Thank you. They didn't feel they were responsible at all.
I just don't think that she caused the problem.
Actually, I never asked her to take it around the block.
I was wrong, and I really wish I could take it back because I wouldn't do it.
And no, I'm never going joyriding ever again.
And now the next case.
All party to Madam Eldridge versus Eldridge. Step forward, please.
Truck driver Johnny Eldridge is suing his brother, Tommy Eldridge, for an electric bill. Tommy is countersuing for non-payment of services rendered.
Mr. Eldridge, the defendant is your brother, and according to your complaint, you made a loan to him for an electric bill, a couple of $100s. He refuses to pay you back. Your brother says it was really a helping hand, there was never a loan, and he is counterclaiming because he said he did a whole lot of work for you around the house for which he was never compensated. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
When did you pay this electric bill for him?
September 14th.
Why?
I feel sorry for him.
Tell me how it came about that you even knew he had this electric bill problem.
Well, out of my father's house the day before, on the 13th.
You were at your father's house?
Yes.
The two of you?
Yes. And that afternoon, I get home, and he's called, wanted to borrow money to pay his electric bill. And I said, I don't know.
Well, what did he say to you?
He said his girlfriend has left him, so he has no money.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You erected a fence on each side of the backyard.
With his help.
Then you did brakes for a truck.
I'll sit down to do that.
You're a hustler, Mr. Eldridge.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Johnny Eldridge says his brother, Tommy Eldridge, owes for a loan to pay his electric bill. Tommy says the money became an issue when he refused to rent a hotel room for his brother and his mistress.
Go ahead.
So that next day, I called him up and said, Tom, I'll pay your electric bill for you. So when can I have the money back? He says, I'll give it back to you when my mother-in-law gets back from the coast.
When his mother-in-law gets back?
No, his girlfriend's mother, because she owed him some money.
All right. When his girlfriend's mother straightens up, he'll get straightened up and he'll give you back your money.
Right. And then I gave him the money, gave him a check.
How much did you give him?
$257.33.
Okay.
And then he says, I'll pay you back within a week. A week went by, I called him up, how's everything going, Tom? Didn't have nothing to say to me. So I showed up at his house a month later and said, Tom, what's the problem? Can you not pay me? He goes, no, I don't have no money. I don't have no money to pay you. So I said, well, can you not call me and tell me that you got problems? I called him all the time.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. True, he gave me the money. He called me and asked me if I wanted the money. And I don't borrow money. I'm 44 years old. I don't borrow money from nobody. Parents, him, sister, brother, it don't matter.
So just a second. So he called you.
He knew. Yes, ma'am.
So he called you and said, I want to give you this money? Is that
Yes,
what you're
ma'am.
telling me?
Yes, ma'am. I've had 19 surgeries since May 1st of 2002. And I'm disabled, can't work. He called me. My fiance, works her tail off to make ends meet. We have 3 kids. He calls and asks me if I need to borrow money for my electric bill. He calls me.
Oh, just a second. How did he know that you needed money for your electric
Because
bill?
I'm not working. And knowing that she's just a waitress and I've got 3 boys. I do
Mr.
that
Eldridge.
all the time.
What?
I do that all the time. I call everybody to see if they need money. I got so much money, see.
You're being facetious. I was.
That's what he thinks.
Now, listen, Mr. Eldridge, what you said to me doesn't make sense, sir. It doesn't make sense that somebody calls you up and said, by the way, do you need money to pay your electric bill? If you said to me, my brother called me and said, listen, I know you're having hard times now. Is there anything that I can do to help? And you said, well, you could help me out with my electric bill. That sounds normal. But when you say to me, he called you up and said, listen, I want to help you out by paying your electric bill, that doesn't make sense, Mr. Eldridge.
No, he told me I have some work to do for you. I have a whole list of stuff at work I've done for him that we agree on a price. We would not be here in this courtroom today. On October 8th, he calls me and asked me if I would go to Holiday Inn in Weatherford and get a motel room for him and a girl. He's got a beautiful wife that he's been married for 10 years to. And I told him I would not do that. The next morning, he come beating on my door and jumped my tail and said, I'll see you in court. Then I get this certified letter. It says, I'm responding to your countersuit. F you. I'll see you in court.
Mr. Eldridge, could we get down to the $257.33 for the electric bill, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Now, I listened to what you had to say, and I read your answer. And your answer says, he paid the electric bill in September. I figured we were even because of all the work that you had done for him.
Right.
And then you turn around and counterclaim for $1,020.
Yes, ma'am, I did that because...
Well, $257 here and $1,020 here. How do you write here, I figured we were even, and then turn around and sue him for 4 times as much money?
Because he don't consider all the work I did for his wife, him, on his son's car that he won't take to the shop and have fixed. He calls me to come and have it fixed.
So what?
Well, because I'm not working, and that's what he does.
Mr. Eldridge, did you have an agreement with regard to the projects that you did to the house that you were working for him?
Yes, ma'am. We had a certain price.
Oh, well, let me see your agreement.
Yes, ma'am. I had a certain price, and he never, ever paid me what we agreed on.
Just a second. I want to see what he agreed on. Are you getting disability, sir?
No, ma'am, I'm not.
Yes, he is.
No, I'm not. I've been denied twice. I have an attorney.
Did you? Oh, okay. So you applied for disability?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
And when were you injured? In May?
May 1st, 2002.
When did you do all this work for your brother? Before or after that?
During it.
That's why you didn't get disability, Mr. Eldridge?
No, ma'am, it's not.
Well, let's see. You say that during the time that you were seeking disability, that you couldn't work, you erected a fence on each side of the backyard.
With his help.
Hanging a Venta hood for an agreed price. Changing a starter in a Camaro. Then you did brakes for a truck.
I'll sit down to do that.
You're a hustler, Mr. Eldridge. You pay your brother back the electric bill, $257.33. You count the claims dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He ruined our family. I don't have nothing to do with him.
He's conned everybody in the family. I'm here to put a stop to it, and I did.
He's a liar.
We know he's a liar. He's always been a liar.
About him not calling me and asking to get a room for him, a girl.
My wife knows better than that.
He's lying out his teeth.
I know it's totally false. I totally trust my husband.
My mother's the only one I love. The rest of them can kiss my tail. I'm sorry.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Nason versus Greenman Champagne. Step forward, please.
Student Jennifer Nason and her husband Todd are suing Jennifer's sister, 21-year-old daycare provider Neela Champagne, and her husband Kenneth Greenman. The Nasons claim the couple owes for money spent to remodel their home.
Miss Nason, according to what I've read here, your sister and her husband were having a little bit of a tough time, and you offered to let them move into your home, a portion of your home that was to be remodeled. And you said, listen, this is the deal. You pay for the remodeling. Once the remodeling is done, you give us $500 a month. Once it's all paid off, you don't have to pay us any rent. You can live rent-free.
Correct.
That's what you say. The remodeling started. The two husbands didn't get along with each other. They had some words. Your sister and her husband decided not to move in, and you think that they should pay you for all the materials that you invested in to do this remodeling, which is a couple of $1,000. Your sister and her husband say that there was never an agreement to pay for the remodeling. There was an agreement for them to pay rent, $500 a month, once they moved in. Where were they supposed to live? What part of your house was going to be remodeled?
We have a little room that is adjacent to our one-car garage that we have.
How big?
30 by 50.
It was going to end up being a two-bedroom, a kitchenette, a dining room, and a living room, all open floor plan.
Let me see pictures of how far you got in this alteration.
We don't have any photographs because we only started putting down the floor, and it looks basically the same way that it was when we started, because we didn't get anywhere with it because they ended up not moving in. So we didn't end up taking any pictures of it, truthfully.
Why do you think they're responsible for the materials that you purchased?
Well, we were doing this for them because they needed a place to live. It was a verbal agreement that they would pay us $500 a month for the material.
After they moved in?
After they moved in.
They never moved in?
No, they didn't ever move in by their own accord.
But they never moved in?
No, they didn't. Because they decided not to move in. So
you didn't expect them to move in if the two guys weren't getting along. What was the problem?
We were getting along.
No, two guys were not getting along. What happened?
We get along fine, as far as I'm concerned, Your Honor.
What happened?
He wouldn't help out at all on anything that we did do in the thing. When he did come over, he'd just stand there, just pick up a couple screws. He wasn't capable of doing anything. For instance, he was taking rocks, throwing them in a dumpster that you pay by weight. And I called him up and asked him to take them rocks out so he wouldn't have to pay so much. He was too busy to come over.
So you were annoyed?
I was annoyed, yes.
So, in case you didn't know it, the men didn't get along.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that until just now?
Yes.
What do you know? You see, you learn revelations every day. Now, what was your interpretation of your arrangement with your sister?
Well, what happened was originally we had discussed, redoing the apartment, and Todd said, we'll do it, and you just pay us back what you can for rent. And I said, okay, so we went home, we discussed it. I called my sister back. I said, well, as far as what we were looking for in an apartment, to rent your place, we'd pay $500 a month. So then he said, okay, everything started. Probably a couple of days after that had happened, I called her back up. I was like, listen, Jen, we're not going to be able to afford to pay you the $500 right now because Kenny's check from the reserves hasn't come in yet. She said, that's fine. She said, because after all, you're not going to start paying until you move in. And I said, okay, so that's when things went on. Then there was a couple of arguments between my husband and her husband, and then we had taken my 2 nieces.
You mean your 2 nieces?
Her 2 daughters.
2 daughters.
Yes. And there was a miscommunication on the way home.
Well, explain that to me.
We had gone up on one day to visit with my brother. So we thought as a favor, because we thought they went the same way that we did, we'd meet them at the end of the Mass Pike and we'd just switch off there.
So you were going to give them back their daughters?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So what happened was we went down 95 completely. They went up a different way. Then we get a call, and they wanted us to bring the girls all the way back up, which would have probably brought us about an hour and a half out of our way. So, of course, we got into an argument, me and my sister. So Todd in the background was saying that he was going to beat us both up and that he was going to kill us both if we did not go all the way up. And at that point was when we decided that I wasn't going to put my son in a situation where someone is that violent over something that little.
Okay, first of all, that is exactly how it did not happen. First of all,
Ms. Masson, listen to me very carefully.
Yes.
It doesn't make any difference what the fight was about. It is enough that the 2 of you and the husbands were not getting along. Was there a contract for them to pay for the renovation on your house? Unless you have that contract in writing, you have no contract.
Why did they start paying?
They started paying us for the material.
I have no idea why they started paying. It is stupid for anyone to pay for the renovation in somebody else's house. It would be smart for you to say, look, once we move in, which is what you testify to, once we move in, we will start to pay $500 a month until, which is what you told me, until the cost of the renovation is paid. But that presupposes that they move in. They didn't move in.
That was
and why should she pay for materials that she's never going to enjoy? That's stupid. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Nobody's going to be forced to live with people that they don't want to live with because they're, they don't think it's safe enough.
She had said it to me that she was going to kill me at times, and did I take it like they were going to literally kill us? No.
I thought the entire thing was ridiculous.
She's no longer my sister, and she's no longer an aunt to my 2 kids.
The only thing it's going to hurt are my 2 nieces. My mother, my father can't even see their granddaughters because she decided to make this out to be something much bigger than what it was.
Medical assistant Tracy Almamani is suing her ex-boyfriend, mechanic Daniel Dickerson, for stealing her dog and other personal belongings.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 523 on the calendar in the matter of Almamani versus Dickerson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Is that your dog?
Yes, it is.
Is that the same dog that you claimed in your complaint that he stole?
Yes, it is.
Well, when'd you get it back?
Friday evening, I found her half a mile from my home. She's been missing since December 18th.
So you found her? Great.
She reappeared on Friday evening.
Good, because according to your complaint, you claimed that he said, unless you come home right away, I'm going to steal your dog. You came home the next day. Your dog was gone and some property missing. Did you take her dog?
No.
Do you know what happened to her dog?
She left the gate open.
You think that's what happened?
Yep, and ran out.
Well, but now you got the dog back. Perfect. So what else do we have to talk about today?
Some missing property that Daniel took from me.
What?
He took my CD player, he took my son's electric guitar, and when he threatened to take the dog, he broke my 27-inch TV and my goddess statue and cash.
I did none of that. Her son broke the TV when she was
Put
gone.
Your hands down. Put your hands down. CD player.
No, I don't know nothing about that.
Guitar.
One of her son's friends took it, I believe.
What makes you think, Mr. Almonte, that he took the guitar?
He was the only one in my home at the time it disappeared. My son went to school at 6:30 in the morning. Daniel was up early. I got up at 8. The guitar was gone.
And that's the only proof that you have?
Yeah.
What else?
My son saw him bag the dog and take it away.
Well, where's your son?
He admitted that he stole my cash to a police officer.
Let me see. You have a police report?
They didn't file a police report. They just took the complaint, and they were supposed to arrest him. They let him go.
Miss Alamani.
He returned $46.
Listen to me.
Okay.
Oh, who did he return the money to?
Officer returned $46
Is that
to
right,
him to give
sir?
to me.
Did you speak to a police officer, Mr. Dickerson?
Yeah, oh.
But you take your hands out of your pockets. Did you speak to a police officer?
Oh, yes, yes.
Mr. Dickerson, don't fiddle around with me, sir. I have limited patience. Do you understand?
Yes.
The dog is now back with her.
Yes.
You took some cash from her house? Look at me. Just answer the question.
Yes.
When did you take the cash and how much?
It was $60, December 15th, maybe.
Could it have been the 17th?
Maybe the 17th.
Good. Now, where did you get the cash from, Mr. Dickerson?
It was on the floor in her bedroom.
Were you living there at the time?
No, I was just staying there.
Were you living there at the time?
No.
So somehow you got into her bedroom and the cash was on the floor. Is that right?
No, we were boyfriend and girlfriend, and I stayed the night, and the money was on the floor.
Is that right?
No, it was in my purse, and I asked him to leave, and it was
Just a second.
missing.
Had he spent the night with your permission?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is correct.
Yes.
So you took $60 from the floor.
Yes, it was.
Why did you take the $60 from the floor?
Because I didn't know whose it was, and so I.
Mr. Dickerson, I don't want you to say anything that makes you appear to be foolish. And if you tell me something that's not true, I guarantee you, Mr. Dickerson, I will make you appear very foolish. Do you understand?
Yes.
So let's get to the truth of it. Let's put an end to it, and let's move on.
Okay.
We understand each other?
Yes.
Very good. So let's go back. December 17th.
Okay.
You found money on the floor in her bedroom, correct?
Correct.
You didn't know who it belonged to.
No, ma'am.
You thought it belonged to the tooth fairy. Is that right?
Yes.
So you took it.
Yes.
Now, on what date did police officer speak to you?
He came that night to my house.
Which is a different house from where the money was.
Yes.
And what did you say when he came to your house?
He asked me if I had the money. I said yes. He goes, "Can you give it back?" I said, "Sure."
And how much did you give back to Officer?
The $60, I believe.
No, you didn't. You gave back only part of it. You spent some of it.
I believe. I can't recall.
Think hard.
I think it was maybe $57 I gave back.
So you spent some of it.
Maybe $3 of it, yes.
Okay. Now, is that the same day as your dog was missing?
She disappeared December 18th, early that morning.
On the 18th. And when did the guitar come up missing?
2 weeks prior.
The guitar was missing 2 weeks before that, Miss Alamani, and then you tell me that on December 17th he slept at your house with your permission? With you. Is that right?
No, he was there alone. He was there with I was not home.
I thought you told me that he was there with your permission on the 17th.
That was December 11th when he stole the cash.
Was
It's December 11th that he admitted to stealing the cash. The dog was December 17th. He threatened and missing December 18th.
Oh. So it was the 11th that you took the cash, and that's when he was staying there with you?
Yes.
Now, when was the guitars taken?
In that period, right around there. I'm not sure the exact date. I just know between 6:30 and 8 a.m.
Was it taken the time the cash was taken, or was it taken the time the dog was taken?
The time the cash was taken, around that
time. That
was
December 11th.
Yes, that's when the call was made to the police.
When you told Officer about the cash, did you also tell him about the CD and the guitar?
Yes.
Did you tell him that they were all taken at the same time, or were they taken at different times?
I reported him missing. I don't think he asked me when.
But the CD and the guitar were taken before the cash was taken?
The CD was later. The CD player?
Yeah.
Later.
Later? What makes you think he took it?
My sons told me that he broke it. He was in my house without my permission. I took it to get it repaired. He took it from that person they told me. He and his
That's all
girlfriend picked it
hearsay,
up.
Miss Alamani. You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. And the cash he returned?
Part of it.
Part of it, except for $3, according to him. It's probably a little bit more. And the dog you got back, is that right?
I found her Friday afternoon.
Great. All right, she in good shape?
She's had puppies.
She's had puppies? Gee, that's interesting. Was she pregnant when she was taken?
She was in heat. I wasn't going to breed her till she was 2 years old if I wait till she's fully developed.
You know where these puppies are?
I have no idea.
Do you know where the puppies are, sir?
I have no idea.
Mr. Dickerson, have you been leaving the plaintiff alone?
Yes.
You have a restraining order against you?
Yes. She keeps on calling me.
Really?
Yes. I got a tape right here.
What does she call you for, sir?
I have no idea. I don't return her calls.
Well, what does she say on the tape?
Will you please call me back? She gives me the phone number and all that. And
What do you call him for?
I called him about if he's appearing on the court, and if he got his papers, he was served.
How many times did she call you, sir?
about 8 times.
Was it after you were served with papers?
Before. She's called me way before the court case was even, before she even filed for the case, she kept on calling me.
But that was after her dog was taken?
I believe so. When she got the restraining order on me when we went to court.
When did you get the restraining order?
The permanent 3 years, January 24th, but the temporary was filed, granted January 8th.
Can I see those papers, please?
Yes.
Mr. Dickerson, have you ever been incarcerated, sir?
Yes.
When was the last time you were incarcerated?
About 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
For what?
Fighting.
Prior to that?
It was for being in a stolen car with a friend that he had keys to. I didn't know it was stolen.
So you were a passenger in a stolen car?
Yeah.
According to this, 2 birds were killed. What kind of birds were killed?
Parakeets. I paid $20 each for them.
What do you mean they were killed?
I kicked him out one night in December around this time, and the first bird disappeared, and there was feathers all over the place. I heard the cage crash. There was 4 birds, 2 females, 2 males. The day before the final restraining order, someone broke into my house, cut my other bird's head off, and flattened my tire.
You didn't have anything to do with that, did you?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Dickerson?
No, ma'am.
How long were you the plaintiff's boyfriend?
2.5 months, 3 months.
Prior to that, did you have a girlfriend?
No.
Have you ever been married?
No.
What did you have to hesitate for?
Well, I was planning because I was in the service, and I was planning on getting married, but we never did.
She doesn't want anything to do with you anymore. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Courts take domestic violence and stalking very seriously, sir.
Well, I got tapes that she keeps on calling me.
Do you mean she keeps calling you, inviting you over?
She just wants me to call her for some reason. I have no idea.
Maybe she wants her dog back, sir.
I don't know. I didn't take the dogs.
Let me hear. Yes, you did.
10, February 17th at 9:39 p.m. Yeah, this message is for Danny. I need you to call me back. Thanks. 10, February 24th at 4:46 p.m. Hey, Danny. Tracy, why don't you give me a call at your earliest convenience? Thanks. 10, February 25th at 7:17 p.m. Hey, Danny, it's Tracy. If you want to call me back, you can try me at 2144. Bye.
That was it.
That's 3 calls.
That's all I have. I recorded.
Why did you call him those 3 times, Tracy?
I was calling about the dog and also to see if he's appearing on the court.
I want you to listen to me very carefully. February 17th was 2 months after your dog turned up missing. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's not the reason for your telephone call. You called him on the 17th, the 24th, and the 25th. The reason you say is because you want to know if he was coming to court. You cannot send mixed signals. Do you understand? From what I read in these reports, if what you say here is true, he's psychotic. Anybody who comes into your house, kills your animals, because that's what you said he did.
Yes.
Right? He came into your house, he cut the head off your bird.
Yes.
Right? That's psychotic. That is psychotic behavior. You don't have lapses where you say, well, maybe it wasn't him, and maybe he's not so bad, I'll call him. Do you understand?
Yeah, I'm not.
If you have a restraining order, that means he's not supposed to have any contact with you. You don't initiate any contact with him. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And later today,
There's a difference between a shirt, sir, and a $400-some-odd CD player, don't you think?
No.
You don't?
A gift is a gift.
Really? Not if I don't find it's a gift, sir.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tracy Almamani says ex-boyfriend Daniel Dickerson is a stalker She claims Daniel chopped off the head of her pet bird.
If what you say in here is true, you don't want to have anything to do with him. The main thrust of your complaint was the dog, which has been resolved.
Yes.
Stay away from him. Don't call him. Don't contact him. Do you understand? Because if this is true,
I won't
he's
contact him.
mentally ill. If it's not true, then he's not. But if it's true, he really has to get help because he's very sick. You understand that, sir?
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
You understand that anybody who would take out their anger and frustration by cutting the head off of a bird is a very sick person. You do understand
I don't
that?
know who would do that. Such thing.
I don't know who would do that either. Somebody who's very sick and requires help,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And if that person didn't get help, that person would be a number one jerk. Is that right?
Yes.
Good. Thank you very much. Your case is dismissed because you got your dog back. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I like the outcome.
I'm happy that I got my dog back.
Because she keeps on calling me.
I don't want to be a part of his life. I will not call him ever again.
Ryan Deitch is suing his former friend, Oliver Miller, for damages after Oliver sabotaged his website.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3089, Deitch versus Miller.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Deitch, how long have you known Mr. Miller?
It's been since 7th grade, Your Honor. So what does that make, 8 years now?
Oh, my God, how people change in
I know.
just a few years.
Tell me
right?
about it.
7th grade, teeny people. You went through middle school together and high school?
That's correct.
Did you do any post-high school schooling?
Not together. We go to different universities, but we've
Which
remained...
school?
I go to DePaul University.
Are you still there?
I'm still there, that's right.
What year are you in?
I'm a senior.
And you, sir?
I'm a senior at Purdue University.
So this is what the case is about. Some time ago, according to you, your friend, without compensation, I assume, because there was nothing about compensation in here, set up a website for you, this friend. At some point, there was an issue of cats. The defendant has 2 cats,
That is correct.
and he was going away on vacation, and he asked you if you would mind the 2 cats.
Yeah, that's correct.
When was that?
That was on July 26th of 2023.
Where was he going?
He was going to Hawaii, Maui, actually.
Who were you going with?
I was going with my brother and my mother.
What did you tell him you needed him to do for the 2 cats?
I told him he needed to come over to the house, feed them, just make sure they're doing fine, hang out for a few minutes, and then that's it.
How many times a day?
Once a day.
Feed them once a day, change water,
Right.
clean up the kitty litter.
That's correct.
Were they indoor, outdoor cats?
Indoor cats.
Now, before you left on vacation, did you give your friend, Mr. Deitch, the instructions on what he had to do?
Yes, Your Honor. Over text, and I have it here.
I'd like to see it.
Great. Yes.
You talk about 1 cat, Rooney.
Yes, Your Honor. She's the more excited one out of the 2. The other one, Stella, really just doesn't need any attention.
You were asking him if he would watch Rooney. Take her out once a day, and he says, feed her and clean the litter box. That's a question. And you said, yeah, it should be pretty easy. Okay. And you left on vacation, and according to your countersuit, the plaintiff was negligent. The cats got out. They were gone for a week. You were hysterical because the cats were not located for a week. But Mr. Deitch's claim is that when you came home from Hawaii and found that the cats were missing, because both cats were missing at that time, when did you come home from Hawaii?
I came home on the 14th of August. We originally planned to be back on the 8th of August, but we were stranded in Hawaii during the Maui wildfires, so we were unable to make it back until the 14th.
And when you came back, you found that both cats were missing.
That's right.
Mr. Deitch says after you found both cats were missing, you got slightly hysterical, as would most people who are cat lovers and find their animals missing, and that in retaliation for that, you did something to the website that you had created for him that when people went to it, instead of clicking on to the website, which Sarah is going to try to explain to me, instead of clicking onto the website and going to the informational portion of the website, it was redirected to a porn site. and that was done in retaliation for his negligently allowing your cats to be lost. That's your claim. Now you're going to tell me about your website. Your website is for what?
So my website is pretty much my professional self. I don't apply to a job. I really don't meet someone professionally without showing them my website. It's sort of...
Well, what is your website?
It's a portfolio site.
Would you give it to Sarah so she can bring it up?
So it's basically a site...
no, not basically. Basically is a filler word.
Okay,
a website has an address.
It is a website that features a little bit about me, my contact information.
Name.
Is the name of the website. I can spell it for you if necessary.
I got it. It does, in fact, come up.
Okay.
It's basically a professional work page.
Oh, okay.
So you put it on a business card
and
so
then
people
you
can find more information.
And then what do you press for it to transition you to?
Launch portfolio.
There's like a contact page, an about page with some more information, some credits
It seems
that
to be
I have.
working correctly now.
Oh, okay. Now, your lawsuit says that somebody hacked into your web page so that when you press this informational web page about what you do, what projects you've done in the past, and they say, oh my God, this is a nice looking guy, looks okay, let's see what he's done, because he's applied for a job or something else. They press a button and it took you to a porn site. So I want to see that.
I have an email from a recruiter who emailed me after she got redirected.
Well, why didn't you take photographs of what it was on the screen? That's very easy.
Okay, I mean, I have a video I could show you. It's explicit, though. I don't know.
Listen, I'm a big girl. I'm 81 years old. I've
Okay.
seen
It's on my
practically everything,
phone.
although
Okay.
that's probably not true. They're developing new things all the time.
Ryan Deitch is accusing his former friend, Oliver Miller, of intentionally sabotaging his website. Oliver is countersuing for negligence and emotional distress, claiming Ryan lost his cat.
Okay. If you have the video, I'd like to take a look at it.
Here it is. So she'll just press that play button right there. Do you want the volume on or off?
Okay, so push the play button.
Ah, well, that's not terribly pornographic.
I would describe it as woefully inappropriate for a professional setting.
I believe that you're right. You can put that back. Now, at what point, on what day, did you first notice that?
So that was on August 24th, and I didn't even notice it on my own. Like I said, I received that email from a recruiter at a company.
Okay, can I see the email?
Yes, of course.
Okay, this woman, whoever this is, wrote to you and said, this looks like a bad joke, and I wasn't even going to reach out to you, but then I thought it would be fair to reach out to you because I'm sure you didn't know that this happened.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Did you answer her?
I mean, I did. But...
No, did you? You know where I'm going. This Bethany allegedly wrote this to you, and if I were in business looking for a job, I would immediately contact her. Did you do that?
I did, but by that point, they had already offered the job to someone else.
I don't care. I just want to see when you reached out to her.
I don't think I have that. I was over the phone. I called her.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
How's that? Goody-goody? Are we getting goody-goody? Are we getting close to what's going on? I knew it would just take me a little bit of time, guys. I knew it would just take me a little bit of time. Okay, so you don't have what would any normal business person who has set themselves up would have, which is an immediate response. Oh, Bethany, thank you. I'm so glad you directed me to this.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it down right away. Is the job still available? All of that would be here because that's the way you do it, which you don't have.
No, I don't. I mean, it was a couple days later that I was notified of that, and I called her. But like I said, the job had already been offered. There really wasn't much I could do at that point.
Nice pivot.
I
Nice
wouldn't describe
pivot.
it as that.
Nice pivot.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let us assume, for the purpose of this case, that this did in fact happen. What proof do you have that the defendant hacked into your computer and redirected it to this other site, which is clearly an inappropriate site for somebody looking for a techie job?
So he actually admitted it to me over the phone, and he is also the only one with the capability to do that. And
No, he's not the only one with the capability, sir. People can hack into the Pentagon.
That's true, but he wouldn't have to hack. He literally...
Well, he wouldn't have to, but you
He
can.
controls it.
But you can. When you received this email, you didn't respond to the person who sent it. How did you communicate with him?
I called him and I texted him as well. I was very upset.
Well, just a second. Now I'll see the text.
Okay. This is it. It's at the bottom.
I assume that you wrote him, this is serious, on August 24th. Is there any response to this?
She did not respond.
He did not respond to that. So bottom line is you really have no proof that he hacked into this. So how long did that website, let's say it was August 24th, that you noticed it, and he came home on August 14th, not finding his cats. When was it taken down?
On August 25th is when it was restored. But I assume it was put to that inappropriate site soon after he got back, maybe 10, 9.
You can't assume anything. That's a guess.
Correct. That's a guess.
That's a guess. But it was taken down August 25th and put up again August 26th.
Yeah, it was restored.
Now, what I want you to do is tell me, now we have September, October, November, December, right up past January. Just for my own information, how many jobs have you had from this website? Name, person, and how much you were paid from this website since August 26th. It can't be a lot.
Yeah, I'm a college student.
Okay, it can't be a lot,
$0.
so it has to be a handful. A handful you would remember.
0.
0. Okay, that's very good. That helps me a lot. That helps me a lot because there are no damages for this business. Okay, now we're going to go to your counterclaim.
Great.
Great, right?
Yes.
Terrific. He was negligent in taking care of your cats and they got out.
He was negligent.
I just said to you, that's a yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And you got home and you didn't find your cats.
That's correct.
One cat came back relatively quickly.
That's correct.
Which cat?
Stella.
Because Stella's a homebody.
That's correct.
And the other one sort of enjoyed his freedom.
Yes, she enjoyed her freedom.
She enjoyed her freedom. And she was out for how long?
7 days.
And then she came home.
That's right, Your Honor.
How'd she look? Happy?
She was happy to be back, but...
Happy to be back, so she decided to come home.
That's right, Your Honor.
And you have them both now?
Yes, yes.
Good. So your counterclaim's dismissed, as is your claim, sir. You can't prove it. We're done.
Your Honor.
Thank you very much.
Your Honor.
We are finished. Finito.
May I draw upon my witness?
No.
This court is adjourned.
I trusted a friend, and that was really my only mistake here.
He was lying the entire time. I don't know why a good friend would do that after I helped him build his website, and he just tried to stab me in the back.
I'm a very forgiving person, so I hate to count it out completely, but things are not looking good for us.
You know, I think he got a bit of karma there, and I'm glad he, hopefully missed out on something, but I did not do it.
You know, I'm not so sure about that case. Let us assume that everything was as presented. The plaintiff had absolutely no damage that he could prove. He might have done that.
Sure.
You know, you lost my cats, I'm going to screw around with your webpage, and I'm absolutely certain that they are going to have dinner tomorrow night together.
I'm sure as well.
I'm sure.
Lucille Chacon is suing her neighbor, Seth Kaufman, for damage after Seth attacked her car.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 3105, Chacon versus Kaufman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Chacon, you are here today because you believe that the defendant is responsible for damage that was done to your car.
Yes.
Your car that was being driven by your grandson.
Yes.
This is the grandson.
Yes.
They had some altercation, and one or both of them may have gotten a little bit injured during the course of the altercation. But what took the most of a beating was your automobile.
Yes.
Were you present during that incident?
Not while the incident was happening, but I did come out later on.
Well, I'm not interested in what happened later on, because the defendant's position is that it was your grandson that precipitated this whole problem, and he was merely reacting to what your grandson had done. So since you were not a witness to any of this, I'm going to have you change places with your grandson.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Tell me your name.
My name is James Abeda.
James.
Yes.
How old are you, James?
I'm 19 years old.
What do you do?
I'm a plumber.
Your first name?
Seth.
How old are you?
I'm 22 years old.
What do you do?
I'm a cook.
Where?
At a senior living in Oceanside.
Both working. Hallelujah moment. A 19 and a 22-year-old who were actually employed. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How do you know him?
I didn't know him until this altercation happened, and I found out he was my neighbor.
Okay. This incident happened on...
I think it was September 15th.
So you live next door to each other?
I believe he lives in the apartment next to mine, yes.
How long have you lived in your apartment?
About 6 years, but I haven't always stayed with my grandmother, and that's where she stays, and I stay with her currently.
Could you speak a little slower and try to keep the hair out of your eyes when you're talking to me?
Yes.
Thank you. On September 15th, where were you living?
With my grandmother in Torrance.
And is that where you live as well?
Yes, it is.
Prior to September 15th, you didn't know each other?
I didn't.
Not at all.
Okay. So why don't you start out by telling me what happened on September 15th, starting out with the time?
My first time interacting with him, I was crossing the street to go to work with channel locks, boots, and other...
With what?
With like channel locks, pliers for work. I had those in my hand, along with boots and other things that I needed. And as I was almost gonna finish crossing the street, he started to honk, and I flipped him off because...
Okay, so he was driving?
Yes.
So you were crossing the street?
Yes.
He was driving. Were you walking slowly? Just a second, Seth. So he was walking slowly?
Very, very slowly.
How very, very
Like
slowly? Just
the...
listen to me. Listen, what I want you to do is, who is this?
Oh, that's my girlfriend.
This is your girlfriend. I want you to stand between your girlfriend and the desk. Right here. Right there. Now I want you to walk in front of your bench and show me how fast he was walking.
Probably about this, like...
No, that's
like
not true.
snail's pace.
Yeah, that's not true. Now go back, and I want you to rethink this again, Seth. I want you to rethink it. Do you understand?
Yes.
You know how old I am? Nobody crosses the street like that, sir, unless they're looking to irritate you. And you hadn't even had any contact with him before that, so he wasn't walking backwards. Now show me how he was walking.
Probably about...
That's okay. That's better. Now go back. Okay. Did he have the right of way? Is not an answer.
He did not.
All pedestrians have the right of way, sir.
It wasn't on a crossing guard.
So he was crossing in the middle of the street?
Yes, between the median.
Explain that to me.
There's a median between the street on Artesia, and it was like walking off of there. No like crosswalk or anything.
What time was this?
It was in the morning, I think about 10 a.m.
Okay, so you're crossing the street. Wasn't fast enough for him. He honked the horn at you. You flipped him off.
Yes.
Okay, let's go from there.
And then when I flipped him off, he got very mad, and he...
Just tell me what he did. Don't tell me he got mad. Mad is his state of mind. Just tell me what he did. Okay. You flipped him off. Did you say anything?
No, I didn't at that point. He was in his car with the windows up.
Okay, was he alone?
He was with his girlfriend at the time.
That would be you. Yes. Do me a favor, please. Kevin, yes. Take her outside.
This way.
Okay, so he's with his girlfriend. You flipped him off now.
So he parks his car in the middle of the street.
He stops in the middle of the street?
Yes, and he gets out, and he starts to get loud. He's like, you need to learn some respect, and...
Is that what he said to you? You have to learn some respect?
Yes, he said, like, something along the lines of, I'm going to teach you some respect, or you need to learn some respect, because I had flipped him off, and...
Just a minute. So far, Seth, listen to me. You're driving your car with your girlfriend. He's walking very slowly. You honk your horn at him. He turns around. He flips you off. You stop the car. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Not yeah. Not yeah. That's a yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am is even better. Why don't you just keep going? What difference does it make to you? You don't pull over in your car because somebody calls you a name after you act like a jerk and honk your horn at them as they're crossing the street and get out of your car. Okay, so now you're an idiot. Now let's move forward.
Lucille Chacon claims her neighbor, Seth Kaufman, damaged her car during a fight with her grandson, James.
Okay, you stopped the car. Did you get out of the car?
Yes, because I was...
Just a second. You stopped the car. And when you stopped the car in the middle of the street.
I pulled off to the side.
Was it in a parking lane?
Yes.
Listen, was it in a parking lane that you pulled over?
Yes.
Okay, so you pulled over into a parking lane and got out of your car.
Yes, and put on my emergency lights as well.
Well, what was the emergency? Think about that for a second. I want you to tell me what the emergency was. Is not an answer.
It's not an answer, you're right, ma'am. He was yelling obscenities at me, so I yelled some obscenities back.
No. He wasn't yelling obscenities to you, sir. He flipped you off.
He left out the part where he also yelled obscenities at me.
You mean after you honked the horn at him?
Yes.
What did he say?
Along the...
Not along the line. I want you to think about what he said. You know, I got a crystal ball here. I want you to think about what he said, and you can tell me. Nothing makes me blush.
He basically just said...
Not basic. Listen, basically is a filler word. What did he say?
Am I allowed to cuss, ma'am, here? Because it was curse words.
Are you allowed to say it? I said to you, I've heard everything.
He basically said I was a... Sorry,
basically,
ma'am.
Not basically. What did he say?
He said I was a... He said I was a bitch. He said I was a lot of things.
Now, just a second. Now, he said all these things to you while he was crossing the street and flipping you off.
Yes.
No, I'm not sure I buy that. My friend Seth, I think that he may have said those things to you after you stopped and you started to argue with him. But all that didn't happen. You're driving in the driving lane. You honk your horn because you're a little impatient, which is sort of stupid, but you're only 22. And he flips you off. You pull off to the side. This all happened very fast.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Common sense. That's what the world is all about. You pull off and then you get out, and then you start back and forth with him.
No, Judge. Because he actually did start yelling obscenities when I had my windows down. He mentioned the fact that my windows were up. They were not. They were down because it was a hot day. So I could hear him yelling the obscenities because it was when he started flipping me off. It was...
Yeah, so why don't you just keep going? What difference does it make to you? If he calls you a couple of names, you're in the car with your girlfriend, what difference does it make? You keep moving.
Ego, I guess, ma'am.
Well, you can call it ego, you can call it the stupid gene, you can call it whatever you want, but you don't pull over in your car because somebody calls you a name after you act like a jerk and honk your horn at them as they're crossing the street and get out of your car. Okay, so now you're an idiot. Now let's move forward. So now you're yelling at each other. Next.
After that, he said we could fight.
No, look here.
Sorry, he said we could fight, so...
He said to you could fight?
Yeah, we both...
No, not we both. I want to know what he said to you. He's crossing the street. He's got things in his hands. According to you, he says to you, do you want to fight?
Yes. Yes,
and?
And I agreed.
And you said, sure, I want to fight.
Yeah. It's mutual combat.
Dumb and dumber. Go ahead. So he said, do you want to fight? You said, sure. This is all because you honked your horn because somebody wasn't walking fast enough in front of your car. You know how stupid that sounds?
Pretty stupid.
Yeah.
I'm aware it sounds stupid now coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Again, yeah.
Yeah. You know, what you got to say is, I'm a work in progress.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, keep going.
After he agreed to that...
He agreed to fight with you?
Yeah, he agreed. After that, when it was just me and him, my girlfriend was trying to tell me, like, just stop. We can both, like, just leave, which I should have listened to her. I understand that. Yes.
Was she still in the car?
No, she had come out with me to, like, try to dissolve the situation.
Okay, so, you know, she's out someplace now where she can't hear what's going on here, which is why I had her escorted from the courtroom. So she's going to tell me that when you pulled over, she said, do not get out of the car.
Yeah.
Don't get out of the car.
Yes.
That sounds like something I would say to my husband when somebody cuts him off and he pulls off and he goes running out of the car. I say, you're 90 years old. Who are you going to fight with? Go ahead. You know, but sometimes you don't get smarter. Sometimes the work in progress just gets stunted. Keep going.
After that, when we both agreed to fight.
And your girlfriend is telling you...
Trying to stop me from doing everything. That's when he pulled out about an 8-inch combat knife that was completely camouflaged. Wish I had a picture of it. But it was about that big enough to hurt me, basically. Like,
I don't care what size a knife is. A knife is a knife is a knife. It could be an inch long.
I agree.
A knife.
But yeah, it was a pretty big knife. And then after that, when we were just yelling at each other, I didn't leave after he pulled out the knife because I was kind of like, I can't believe you pulled out a knife on me. I was just shocked by it. A neighbor came over and started trying to break us up as well. And so did my father. My father came over because he just so happened to be outside and tried to stop us too. So that day it got dissolved, like the whole situation.
And?
The next day is when we really had an altercation.
Oh, so this is just an appetizer
Yes,
of what happened the next day, which
Yes.
was September 16th.
yes,
So now your father is there, your girlfriend is there, you're separated.
yes,
Then you saw each other again the next day.
correct.
Take it from there. Now you saw each other the next day. What happened the next day? So far we don't have anything except, did you take out a knife on the 15th? That's an answer, yes or no?
No.
You did not?
No.
You did not have a knife with you?
Yes, I did.
You did. Where was it?
In my waistband.
So it was there?
Yes.
Okay. And visible?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of a knife was it?
A camouflage knife with the...
How big?
About this big.
Okay. And who else was out there? He was there with his girlfriend, and his father came to sort of break things up, and it was broken up, and you got back into your car and drove off.
Yes.
So far, correct?
Yes.
Let's go to the next day.
So the next day, I was sitting in my car in front of the apartment that I live at.
You mean your grandmother's car?
Yes. And I noticed that he was like on the median that he was talking about on Artesia. He was already crossed on that side, and he was with his girlfriend. And he had noticed that I was sitting in my car, and he had already had his knife out, and he came up to me, and he tried stabbing me. He stuck his knife in the car, already yelling before I could even acknowledge his existence. He came up to me yelling, upset, and he.
What was he yelling?
He was like, "What's up?" He was like, "What's up? What happened yesterday? Like, what about yesterday? You called me. What about now?" Because he had a knife now, and I guess the day before he felt like he didn't. So he came up to me with a knife and immediately stuck it in the window, tried poking me, and as I tried to get out, he kicked the door about 5 times while I was trying to get out, crushing me and also shutting the door as I'm trying to get out. And by the time I got out...
What were you trying to get out for?
To not get stabbed, because I couldn't pull off because he was on the left side of my car, and that's the side I needed to go onto the road, so I couldn't drive off.
Unless you ran him over.
Yeah, and I didn't want to kill him.
He had a knife. He was stabbing you.
Yeah.
You could have killed him. Did you break a window?
I believe it was the back, not the window, but the little glass part over.
A little glass part. That's usually called a window.
Lucille Chacon and her grandson, James, are accusing their neighbor, Seth Kaufman, of damaging her car during a fight with James.
Okay, keep going.
So at that point, I got out and I followed him.
Okay, just a second. So then you were able to get out of your car because he walked away.
He didn't walk away.
Well, then, because you say you were following him, which means that you were behind him, which means he was walking away.
No, he was facing me and I was facing him, and I was kind of like walking him back around my car, because I was trying to go to my gate and get inside instead of driving off.
Well, why didn't you drive off? Now he's away from the car. Why didn't you just drive off?
I just didn't want to get stabbed. I wasn't sure what to do. It all happened very fast.
So you didn't want to get stabbed, so you got out of your car.
Yeah, and I was trying to go inside.
Is that pretty stupid, right?
Yeah, but I was trying to avoid hitting him with the car.
Nah. Go.
He was parked in the fire lane, and there was no cars in front of him. He could have pulled off if he...
No, not coulda, woulda, shoulda. Just tell me what happened.
I was walking across the street. Me and my girlfriend were actually having a little bit of a spat.
My girlfriend and I.
Oh, my girlfriend and I, you're right. We're having a little bit of a spat. She was leaving. I was going across the street to go, talk to her, settle things down.
So you were having a fight with your girlfriend?
Yeah, little verbal altercation.
What were you having a fight about?
I don't even remember. Something small and stupid, probably. And then while I was walking across the street, I heard James from his car, who put down his window, start yelling at me. Again, more obscenities. You're a bitch, you're this, you're that. So I thought he wanted to start stuff again. And it seemed like he did. So I walked up, I started talking to him. Like, do you want to fight again? The exact same thing I said the day before, and the exact same thing happened. He pulled out a knife that he had in his waistband, and yeah, we just kept yelling at each other back and forth. My girlfriend, again, tried to get in between us and stop everything that was going on.
Okay, so what you're saying to me that he instigated what happened on the 16th of September by shouting at you when you were crossing the street to talk to your girlfriend.
Exactly.
And then you came back to the car to confront him as to why he's calling you names again.
Exactly.
And then from inside his car, he took out a knife?
The exact same knife, yes.
The exact same knife?
Yes.
And what did you have?
Nothing.
Now, you knew he had a knife from the day before.
Yes, I did.
So why would you go over to his car unless you yourself had some sort of something to protect yourself with?
I didn't really care about protecting myself. I was just more angry than anything. And that does sound stupid, but it's the truth. I was just really upset with the fact that we could have had mutual combat the day before, which we both are adults, we agreed to. Could have done that, but he wanted to pull out a weapon when there was...
This all started because he wasn't walking fast enough across the street.
Yes, this all started because he wasn't walking fast enough across the street, yes.
Mm-hmm. How did Mrs. Chacon's car get damaged?
When I was trying to defend myself from him, like I said, he had a pretty big knife. I was just... He says that he was following me.
No. I asked you a question. He did not damage his own car.
He did not.
You damaged his car. How did you damage his car, and with what? What?
I guess my body when I was trying to defend myself.
Well,
I didn't even realize
that?
it happened until it happened.
Yeah, but I'm going to see pictures of it, I assume. Do you have photographs? I assume I'm going to see pictures of the damage to the car.
I do not have photos of the car.
No, they do.
Oh, yeah.
So as far as you're concerned, you don't know exactly how their car got damaged?
No, not exactly.
Did you break a window?
That's what they told me I did.
No. You were there.
I was there. I don't remember doing that, though. I don't.
Did you break a windshield?
I believe it was the back, not window, but the little tiny part that's connected to your back window in the back of your car? One of those tiny ones. Not the window, but the little glass part over.
A little glass part. That's usually called a window.
Yeah.
What about holes in the car?
Holes?
Holes. Would there be any pictures of holes in the car?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. And would there be any marks where there was any kicking to the car?
There shouldn't have been. No, ma'am.
You don't remember kicking the car?
No, I don't.
Do you remember what kind of car it was?
BMW.
Okay. Now, let's go back. Now he's with the girlfriend. Pick it up.
So he's...
September 16th, you're in your car, sitting in the fire lane. Did you hear what he just told me?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
No, it's not. He damaged my car when I had gotten out of it. We went to the back, and that's where I had to go to my gate and
Go to your what?
To my gate inside of my apartment. And his girlfriend was screaming to just stop everything because the day before it was something traumatic, I'm sure, for her as well already. And it was the same, like calling each other that, and so we were just standing there across from each other on the sidewalk, and then he backed, because he's close to my car, so he kind of backhands it, and he does that to the trunk, and his hand goes through the glass, so it cuts him, and the back of the car has a hole in it.
Can I see the photographs of the damage? Oh, well, that would be what we call look, like a 2-year-old. That would be called a window. What I want you to do is, I see the broken window. What I want you to do, James, is Kevin is going to give you a pen, something that will show up on this, and I want you to make a circle as to where you allege there's damage to your car, your grandmother's car, other than the window.
I believe there was one more picture in the stack that showed the door that he kicked.
Well, I'd like to see it. Okay. What's the damage here?
Like a scratch, like a line across.
And what was that made with?
I think with a knife.
Okay, good. Now, Kevin, would you go and bring in Mr. Kaufman's girlfriend? What is her name?
Kyla.
Kili markera malala.
Terima kasih.